Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera show. And you know, it's gotten a little crowded in the kitchen today and I'm so thrilled because I have two very special guests, Jay and Ken Rogaski from Aiken, South Carolina. And Jay actually reached out to me via email and said that her whole little bridge group watches the VeryVera show. And she said, you know, I think it would be a great idea if you did something about bridge and cooking. And she said, my husband is a really good cook. So I'm so happy that you reached out to me, Jay, and tell all of your friends at Bridge that we're just so glad that VeryVera is on their agenda. And I'm going to let you join your group.
Great.
And I'm going to get to know Ken a little better here. And tell us, Ken, what we're going to be making tonight.
Well, I've already browned half of the pork loin. Pork loin, 4 pounds, is quite large. I got this pork loin at our own Aiken fresh market. Jeremy there is a great butcher and he helped me out. He prepared this for us.
Oh, wow. Well,
so,
you know, that's the part I love the most about the fresh market is that they really get to know their customers and they are always so helpful. So you went ahead and got one of those already kind of browned up. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to help you with this induction range, and I love this cookware that you don't even have to spray the pan. Oh, that just looks wonderful.
Let's prepare the other one.
Okay.
You want to do the salt and pepper?
Yeah, we've patted this really good and dry with a paper towel. And now Ken said he's hands-on, so I'm going to do the sprinkling, and he's going to do the rubbing. And we're using tri-colored pepper. And we'll get that squared away. But these pork loins, that is a really large cut of meat, but if you cook it right, they're so tender. All right, a little bit of salt. Now, do you do this often with this group? Do you cook for them all the time?
My wife's had me cooking for bridge groups for 25 years.
Oh my word. Okay, I'm
move
gonna
that
move that over. Okay, well we're gonna get this on like a medium high. And then the other thing that makes this dish so great are the breadcrumbs that are going to be browned to go with it. So I'm going to get this ready to go in the skillet over there. We're going to brown this up. And Ken says the trick to this that makes it so delicious is the fact that we're going to add horseradish to this. So I've moved down here to another skillet that is going to have olive oil. And we're going to have that on about a medium heat. All righty. And then I'm just going to add the breadcrumbs to that. Now, about how long do you cook that aside, Ken?
You just want to brown it, you know, so it's nice and golden like this one.
Okay. Perfect.
And it's part of the cooking process, so when you put it in the oven, it's probably...
And what's the proper temperature for that roast to be when it's done?
I like to cook it in a 475 oven for about a half an hour. And I put a meat thermometer in and I'm looking for 145 degrees.
Okay, 145.
When you take it out, it's going to keep cooking for at least 10 minutes.
Okay. Oh, that's searing up really well. Okay, so you've seared it on both sides, and now you're turning it on the side to sear it.
Yeah, the more you make a little crust on it, the better it tastes.
Oh yes, I love that. Okay, so do we need to be mixing up the mayonnaise and mustard to go with it?
Good idea.
So let's use that. I've got a spatula over there that you can mix that up with. And these are going to get nice and golden brown, and I'm going to go ahead and add that's quite a bit of horseradish. And you know, I love to use the Fresh Market's brand of horseradish sauce too. It's really good. All right, so we're gonna be busy here for the next few minutes, and what we're gonna do is Ken is mixing up the mayonnaise and the mustard. We're gonna add that to these breadcrumbs and get it.
No.
Oh, we're not?
We're gonna coat the.
We're gonna coat it, okay. All right, so we're going to work on that during the break, and when we come back, we'll catch you up on where we are in the kitchen and get started on those collards and parsnips. So come back with us after the break.
Bridge is a very competitive card game, but it's also a social activity. And I think the most fun you have is when you play with somebody that you really enjoy. You're going to spend 3+ hours across the table interacting. So find someone that you like and like spending time with, and you'll have fun.
Bridge is a wonderful game. It's a game of concentration, it's a game of focus, it's a game of camaraderie. Learning to play with a partner is a very important part of bridge. And what you can learn about people is just as important as what you can learn about cards.
You know, Lynthia makes a really great point about partnerships, and I think I've done pretty well picking out a great partner to be in the kitchen with me today. So while we were away during the break, Ken did a great job of getting those pork loins completely coated and smeared. He just did a fantastic job of getting that on. And then those breadcrumbs that I browned in the pan, he took those great big hands of his and he just put it all over that roast. It just looks delicious. Then I got to put it in the oven at 475 degrees for about 30 minutes, and I could just smell it. It just smells so good. It's just cooking up a storm. So now we're going to get started on the collards and parsnips. And I went ahead and got the parsnips cut and diced and into a little bit of olive oil in a skillet. And these have been cooking for about 8 minutes. And Ken, you said the browner they get, the nuttier they get.
That's right.
Well,
a lot of our friends don't like collard greens, and we found that this recipe changes a lot of minds.
Well, you know, there you go out there in TV land. If you want to try something and add a twist to it, the parsnips is the answer. So now I'm going to add to that the shallots, and this is
Thyme.
All righty. So I'm going to get that sauteing even more. And you went ahead and got started cooking down those collard greens. So you just put those down into boiling water, and as you can see, they were all over the place when we started, and now they've cooked down. Ken did say he likes his vegetables crunchy, which is not very Southern, Ken.
Yeah, I know.
My husband would be willing to admit that he likes things a little bit more cooked than I do. So now what are you doing right now?
Just cooling them off.
Okay, so that's some ice water that we've got going over there. They still look pretty crispy to me.
Yeah, they're just fine.
And did you say you're growing collards too?
Yeah, where we live I have a couple of garden plots, and the bugs and I share the collard greens.
Well, I don't think there's any bugs in those, so
No,
that ought to work great.
I took all the protein out.
Okay. So this is just to keep the cooking process from stopping immediately.
Yes.
Correct? And keeping those nice and crunchy. And you know, I do think when you do it this way, you know, you're retrieving some of the good nutrients and vitamins that are in these vegetables anyway. So I always like to point that out as well. All right, so let's get started on getting some of that water out of there, and you're going to be adding this to my pan.
Yeah.
So why don't I just move it down? I'll come a little bit closer to you since you're my partner, right?
Yeah, but you still got a little bit to do here.
Okay.
Those have to be
We got to
cooked
cook this
down a little bit.
Cook this down a little bit more.
Then we're going to add some of the broth.
Okay. And this is chicken broth.
Guaranteed by the fresh market.
Oh, gotcha. Alrighty. So I've got that heat turned up on that. So we're going to let this keep cooking down a little bit, and when we come back from the break, I think Ken's going to be using those great big hands of his again to get the moisture out of those collards. We're going to add that back in, and we're going to put some cream in it too, right?
We're going to make a bechamel.
Yay! Can't wait. So come back with us after the break.
Ask Vera is brought to you by Georgia Bank and Trust and Southern Bank and Trust.
Barbara Dickerson in Augusta writes, what do I do if a recipe calls for self-rising flour, but I only have all-purpose? Barbara, not to worry. Let's make some pumpkin bread together. All right, as a former home economics teacher, I'm going to say that my best tip would be to have all of your ingredients measured and on the counter before you begin. That way you know for sure that you're out of that self-rising flour. But no worries, because I'm sure you have what you need to make it. To a cup of plain flour, you're going to add 1½ teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You want to add that into the dry ingredients, which is, of course, the flour, and whisk it really well to get it good and incorporated. Then you're going to put all of the dry ingredients together at once, then all the liquid ingredients together at once. Be sure to spray that loaf pan very well. Put it into a preheated oven and wait for the house to smell great. Those happy campers are going to love that pumpkin bread. Barbara, I hope that answered your question. And if you're looking for an answer to a question, just write me at askvera@nbc26.tv. And I want to remind you that in Augusta, on Saturdays all the way through the end of November, we're doing our market downtown. Check it out.
Actually, bridge is part of my long-range plan. My long-range plan is to enjoy life on Earth as long as possible. I exercise regularly, I eat healthy foods, and I use bridge to exercise my brain cells. It's all part of the plan.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And you know, looking at what Cobb said about eating healthy and being in good shape and exercising and really thinking about his long-term, long-range planning. The one thing I'm worried about at this point, Ken, is my brain. Because I know for sure that Cobb's is going to be really, really smart because he's playing bridge. And I love to exercise and eat healthy, but I'm going to have to start reading cookbooks more religiously and playing bridge in my spare time. But we are just having the best time today getting this wonderful meal together. And while we were away during the break, Ken got those collards that you had rested in the ice bath, squeezed out with his hands, and then added it to my lovely mixture of the parsnips and the shallots and the thyme. So what do we have here? Let's look at it.
Okay.
It's just an attractive dish. You know, we get so used to those casseroles, and this is not your mama's casserole, you guys. This just looks wonderful, and with the holidays coming up, I think it would just be great. So now, you also were busy during the break. I hadn't let you take a single break. We've been busy cooking after every minute today, but he got the butter nice and browned for that. And then what did you do as the butter got browned?
Well, you have to let it clarify, and after it clarifies, it browns a little bit. It takes about 6 minutes, and then you add a couple tablespoons of flour to the 2 tablespoons of butter. And after you get it nice and combined, you add the cream, and it'll get thick.
Oh, well, it is really nice and thick. The neat thing I think about this, when you combine the nutty flavor of the parsnips and the crispy collards that we haven't cooked to death, nutmeg was the secret ingredient in this. I think it's just going to be wonderful. All right, so what are we going to do now? This
We're
looks like
put
it's
that
ready
in
to
there.
go. Oh, good. All right.
You might want to use this one.
Yeah, I want to get every single drop of that. That's what these nice rubber spatulas come in handy for. And the cookware that we're using, the Belletti cookware, is just, you were not familiar with it, and literally you don't have to spray it, you don't have to do anything, and it just really, this pan is, all I'm gonna have to do is really just wipe it out. I love this cookware. Gosh, that just looks amazing. And you know,
I don't know if we want Cobb to eat any. It's got butter in it.
well, a little bit of that, but he'll work it off. He'll be fine. But this would be a wonderful addition to your Thanksgiving or one of your holiday meals. It's so colorful, and you've got a really nice combination of something crispy and something that's crunchy. So that's going to be really great. So we are going to get started on getting all of this together so that we can serve our little bridge group this delicious meal. So I want you to come back with us after the break because we're going to have quite a party. Bridge and delicious food. So come back with us. Welcome back, and we have put together quite a party today, and I've had the best time. Jay and Ken, thank you so much for being part of this. And Jay, I want to tell you, I don't know how you get a word in edgewise, because this woman will not take no for an answer. When she reached out to me about doing this, she just had this idea, and nothing short of me saying, get your bridge group together and we're going to be on the show and my husband's going to be doing the cooking. There was nothing I could say but yes, and I'm so glad I did.
Thank you, Vera. We've had a wonderful time, and I know our guests have too.
I'm delighted. But you know, we're here to talk about good food, but we're also here to educate a little bit more about the game of bridge. And Jay, I think you just are so knowledgeable, and certainly you've been playing bridge for quite a number of years. So I wanted you to share a little bit of that with us while Ken gets started cutting this beautiful pork loin.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Vera, you and I started out playing bridge when we were considerably younger. And I hate to admit it, but I've been playing bridge for 50 years.
Woohoo!
And I'd just like to tell you a few of the little changes that have come about. I don't really play much party bridge anymore because once you get hooked on duplicate bridge, it's competitive. You tend to see a lot of the same people on a regular basis,
right.
And you can travel all over this country, all over the world playing bridge. 3 weeks ago, Ken and I played in a sectional tournament in Honolulu.
Oh my goodness.
In February, we played bridge in Aruba. So it's an opportunity really to meet and have fun with lots of people. The ACBL, the American Contract Bridge League, is the parent organization, and you can look at everything they have online, including learning aids to learn how to play bridge and where to play bridge. All you do is
and we've got that information up on the screen,
yes,
so that people can take advantage of that.
Exactly. And we're fortunate enough here in the CSRA area to have several bridge clubs, duplicate bridge clubs, available for people to enjoy. The other thing, well, I guess the first thing I'd like to mention is that we use bidding boxes now. And all of our bids are put out with a card. Your bid and your pass card, the double card, so that the noise level is considerably reduced.
And that's where people get distracted.
Yes, that is how you get distracted.
That's the brain cell part.
Right. And in this day and age, people like to have pre-dealt hands. It's all done on a computer program and put into a dealing machine. The reason they like this is we then print the hands at the end of the game. It's available for them to be able to see what could have been done with the hands and compare your results to the other participants in the game.
Well, and I think, you know, probably as people learn more about this, it's never too late to get started.
Never.
The information that Jay has shared as to where you can find out more about bridge and where to play it in your area or when you're going on vacation, if you want to make that part of your itinerary, I think is really important. But we are going to move now into our dining area to enjoy some of this with your group. And I want to remind everybody that our recipes are always available at VeryVera.com. And Ken was nice enough to spend the time creating the recipes for these because, Ken, you said that a lot of times you just throw in a little of this and a little of that.
Never works the same way
So
twice.
he had to work those brain cells, y'all, and get those recipes out for us, but they're going to be available. So let's go join the group and enjoy some of this delicious food.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've got the whole table served, and we always serve the gentleman last. And Ken, again, you have really put your talent to work. I continue to learn from other people that are willing to share their recipes and their talents with me. I want to thank you so much. I want to invite all of you to go ahead and get started on this wonderful meal. And you know, we've learned so much tonight about, you know, taking recipes or taking foods that maybe some people don't like you said, you're friends with the Collards, but we've added wonderful things to it. And we also want you to take advantage of the information that Jay shared with bridge and how you can find out more about that when you're on vacation. But I've also got a surprise today, and we are celebrating our 100th episode of the VeryVera Show. I'm so excited, and it's because of all of you out there that have followed us from the very first day when I made devil's shrimp, now to our 100th episode where we're doing collards and pork. So just remember, no matter what you do, do it in good taste. I've got great taste in friends and associates. And join us again next weekend for another episode of the VeryVera Show. I can't wait to have some myself.
Thank you, Vera.